Wine Country Homestead. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you how I dehydrate my organic orange peel. Well, it's not my oranges. I don't grow them. We can't grow oranges very well in our area. But at least the organic oranges I buy at the store. Since I do all this through the cold months when we've always got a fire going, I do it entirely on our wood stove. And I will show you that. I do not, however, use the dehydrating rack that my husband built because I'm only doing a little bit at a time because I do it pretty much every day. Every time we have an orange, I immediately rinse off clean off the peels, and then I dehydrate them. So I'll show you a picture of our dehydrating rack, a couple of pictures. And the first one I'm going to show you is a picture of the rack holding chanterelle mushrooms that we can get in our area. And so you can see what that looks like right here. And then this next image is how I dehydrate, or how I make my beef jerky on the wood stove using the dehydrator rack, and that is right here. Patrick built that rack out of bed rails, and then I bought the little mesh stainless steel things at the store. And I'm hoping eventually he'll build another one so that he can make a video showing how he did that. It's very handy, and I use it whenever I'm doing a lot of stuff at a time. But usually if it's just a small amount, a few little lemon peels, orange peels, whatever, I use a different method, and I'm going to take you into the living room where my wood stove is, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, so this is how I do things when I just have a small amount of stuff to dehydrate at a time. If I'm doing beef jerky or chanterelle mushrooms as seen in those photos, then I'll pull out the dehydrator rack because I'm going to be doing a lot more at a time. So I just leave these on here until they get good and crisp, and they're just about there. In fact, some of these are ready. So some of them are not quite ready yet, so I'll probably pull off the ones that are ready and then leave the softer ones. And when these are all completely dry, then I'm going to show you what I do next. So just a little overview on the wood stove. I did just basically re-season it. That's why it's looking kind of greasy. Because I try to do that, wipe it down and put a good layer of coconut oil and just let it cook in while the wood stove is hot. But I have this rack here and then this rack here that we picked up at actually the dump. Because people are always getting rid of old, barbecuers. And so we grabbed these things, and I have a lot of them. I use them all the time. But these two stay up here all the time. So back here is where I put my roasts, casseroles, whatever that, anything I need to let cook for a long time. I don't want it sitting directly on the wood stove. And if I need to set anything up a little bit higher, I'll take these trivets and set them on there, or even this like I have here, whatever I need, because maybe the wood stove is just too hot for what I'm doing. I have various things I can do to adjust the height so things aren't getting burnt. It's been a matter of trial and error, and then I also have my thermometer back there so I can keep track of that. So anyway, I'll move on to the next step once these are dehydrated. Now, all of my orange peel is not fully dry yet, but I really don't want to process it all right now because I already have a couple of full jars, and I also like to save my orange peel like this. And this is how I use it for tea. So I'll throw 1, 2, 3 of these, depending on how big the pieces are, into my pot of tea, and then let it brew so I can have a nice orange spice tea with those. And then this here is a jar of orange peel pulverized in my blender, and I'm just going to show you that real quick. Anyway, Okay, so that only took about a minute to get that good and powdery, so you can see that in there. Now, you can add this to like the homemade popsicles. You can find a video to that here. I have a couple of different ones out. I've done that. I've added these to the homemade popsicles. Really good. I've done so much stuff with the powder. I've put it in my homemade chocolate. icings, and the orange pumpkin bread that I just put a video out on not too long ago. You can find that one right up here too. There's just so many things you can do with the orange peel. You can use, I actually got, now actually I know what I'm going to do with this. I've got to make some more of my latte mix, and I'm finding I'm really liking the powdered orange peel or ground up orange peel in that. Even if I have chewy pieces, it's still really good. So I'm going to add this to, since I got to make this up, that's why all these jars are out. I'm going to go ahead and add that to that today when I mix that up. So you can find a video on the jet fueled latte, it's my own recipe, right up here, and you can check it out. It's just a real healthy drink that replaces coffee for me. I don't need coffee when I have that, and you know, I don't drink coffee. Well, I have a little bit once in a while just for the flavor, but I just don't need it as far as caffeine goes. I can get my good organic roots and stuff, and the cacao, the maca, the ashwagandha, all that good stuff, and just have a good healthy drink. So now the next thing I want to do is show you how I store my orange peel. So this lid is currently loose because I wanted to show you this. Okay, you want to make sure that your lid is nice and clean. You don't have, and your rim is nice and clean. And this is a previously used lid that I used for canning. And I've said this in other videos before. When it comes to vacuum sealing into jars, unless your lids are really bent up, or this little gummy part here is pretty aged and you know, not sticky anymore, then you can reuse these for vacuum sealing again and again and again. So don't throw them out when you open up your jars of home canned things. So I put that on there, and then I'll link to these below. They have one of these for a regular mouth, and which is what this is, and then the wide mouth. And you can buy this set of them, and it's a better deal to buy them as a set than buy separately. And you slip that over the top, and I find this method works better than I use the Food Saver attachments, but the brake bleeder method this has been a no-fail method, whereas the vacuum seal using the vacuum seal on your Food Saver, not so much. Maybe every other jar might come unsealed. This has worked really good for me. So anyway, I just take the brake bleeder and I put on an attachment. The only difference is using this, if you've ever used the Food Saver, you have to actually hold this in. It doesn't snap in, so you got to press it in there. And then you just pump this up until it gets to 15. And it's a completely off-grid way to do it. No electricity needed. Sometimes this little rubber guy comes out. And there you go. Now my jar is sealed, right? It's all the air's been pulled out and it's sealed. And then since I'm vacuum sealing, this isn't a canned thing, I like to put the bands on just for an extra safety measure, just in case it does lose its seal. I started doing this because the Food Saver one, they would eventually lose their seal. Since it's dehydrated, I don't worry about it as much, so I can put this on there so it will keep that lid tightly down just in case the seal gets broken. And it will still keep your dehydrated stuff pretty fresh. So, and then I'm not doing that with this because this I just use, in fact, I don't even know why I have a lid like this. I should be putting one of my lids like this on there, and you can find a link to these lids. They're kind of expensive, but they're cool looking in the description box. And and I'll also put the brake bleeder in the description box. I highly recommend this. It's a real cheap thing to have on hand for vacuum sealing. So that's the main reason I bought it. And I'll also put the link to the set of Food Saver attachments for using on these. But anyway, I use this all the time, and so there's no need for me to vacuum seal that. Now, the other day I had done a video on my peanut butter powder, and this is how I store it. And I failed to mention that in the peanut butter powder. I would not leave it in the package for long-term storage. Put it in a glass mason jar, you know, or I have several of these, and I cannot tell you how long the actual shelf life is because I've only been doing this for a year, but I would say it would last a pretty darn long time. Like anything else that's dehydrated and packed away in a jar, it should last several years. I'm gonna guess a minimum of 2, but I would, as long as that seal holds and then you keep your band on there good and tight, I would think it would last for a long time. Now, I wanted to show you, in case you didn't notice here, so I took this off, that this method of sealing works good even with the Tattler lids. I prefer to use the metal ones for this, but I just wanted to show you that this actually does work. So, same thing, put your attachment on, use your brake leader, press it in there, and just pump it up. I find that the powdered things take a little bit longer to pump up than something like the herbs, but just a little bit. And there you have it. See? Even the Tattler lids work. So it's just a really good way to put away any of your dried goods for long-term storage. I also do that with my cacao powder. Now this is one that I'm using right now, so it just has this lid on it, and my lids get very dusty with the things I use. But I do this with my cacao powder. I'll buy a 5-pound bag at a time of the organic raw cacao, and then I'll pack it away in jars like this, and then I vacuum seal it up instead of leaving it in the plastic bag. And you can do that with whatever, the ashwagandha root powder, the maca root. I have lots of jars of all these different kinds of things that I find important to always have on hand and keep in long-term food storage. So anyway, there you have it. So I hope you learned something new and that you enjoyed this video. And I really appreciate all my loyal subscribers and the interaction and the questions and the suggestions for more videos, more content. I really do appreciate that. And thanks for being a part of this community with us. And Patrick and I are really pleased to be a part. So thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.